So tell us a little bit about Nutrient.
Yeah, so we got started, really we put the idea together end of 2019. It took us a few months, being that we have to register and get facilities ready. So really we got up and going like March 2020 is when we first started producing products there. But yeah, my brother and I came from a supplement background of being at a supplement company, and he did ops, I was in marketing, and after doing that, we both found our way into product development. We really enjoyed doing that part of it. So actually, from concept of what do we want a product to accomplish, to formulation, to working with a manufacturer, to produce finished good. So we always enjoyed that part of it. And so we had this opportunity come up, and we're like, hey, we know how to do this. Why don't we start doing this for others? And so we just kind of started that way.
It kind of blows my mind because it sounds like it'd be so capital intensive.
It is, and we were not fully prepared for how capital intensive it was going to be, honestly. What we did, though, is just we started small. Like, we started with a 5,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
You know, most of that was production, but we had a few offices, and we've just tried to grow and make really good choices on, okay, what do we want to invest in next? Does it really make sense?
What machines are going to produce the best?
Yeah.
So what did you start with? What are the machines that you're like?
We started with, very basic, like a blender, a couple stick pack machines, and a capsule machine. Wow. That was what we started with.
Because you felt like that was probably the lowest hanging fruit?
For sure.
To get on in?
Yeah, and especially because stick packs, it's usually the stick pack manufacturers have really high MOQs. You know, if you go to a lot of stick pack manufacturers, they're going to say 500,000 sticks is our MOQ.
Oh, so you felt like you could kind of get a lot lower.
Yeah. So where we bought different machines, we sourced different machines and figured out how to run those from China, and then we're like, cool, we'll do 10,000. And so I mean, we tried to be disruptive that way.
Yeah, you picked up a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Your building is massive.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
What's the square footage?
We've got about 30,000 square feet.
And I was looking. I mean, it looks like you said something like you've manufactured in total about 200 brands of their products.
Yeah, from like the beginning to now, around 200.
So you've done a little bit of everything. We're talking about just a little bit of Gorilla and a little bit of Just Ingredients and other ones that we would know.
Yeah, I think ones that is here is Waterboy. They're one that has gotten into some national retailers this year.
Oh, yeah.
Really big. The co-founder was on The Bachelorette, funny enough.
Oh, wow.
And he kind of like grew that from that experience into a following. And they started this company that's competitor to like Liquid IV, Element.
Electrolytes.
Yep. And so they've really capitalized on that.
That whole IV thing is crazy. So my friend was, he was a nurse for like the last 15 years. And then he started doing these like at-home like IV treatments. Mm-hmm. And I am blown away by how much he charges. And,
I imagine.
And the demand. I mean, it's hundreds of dollars per like in-home visit, but he's always booked.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's interesting. It's like this whole world I never even knew existed. I'm like, holy cow! Just kind of spun out on that. It's kind of interesting with some of those like the medical side of things, like how like for example, plastic surgeons they could come out of dentistry, they can come out of anywhere. And all of a sudden they kind of morph into doing different things. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing veneers and stuff. It's so interesting.
Oh, yeah. And like the way medical spas have changed so much too. Like that's what's been interesting. Because although we don't deal with medical with the company, it's interesting to see carryovers from like Ozempic and all of how big those are getting. And then how that bleeds over into everything. Food, supplements, and all those kind of things.
I was reading about that big Ozempic news that broke last week. And they're talking about how Ozempic costs $5 a unit to produce, and they'll sell it for $8 a unit in other countries, but they'll sell it for like $1,000 here.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I didn't see the numbers on that.
And so the big controversy is like, well, wait a minute here. It's our lobbyists who lobbied for U.S. taxpayers to like get them going, and then they come back and screw the U.S. citizens. And they're producing it, and it's kind of the big thing. Is like, well, wait a minute. How can you sell it to Germany for $8 or €8, and for us it's 1,000 USD.
Fair question.
Isn't that crazy
That's
to
so
think
crazy.
about?
That's so crazy.
Well, I think the coolest part about being in this business that you're in, which is really smart in multiple ways, is number one, it seems like it's probably still the fastest growing segment probably in the country. It's always been right up there. It seems like it's a decently low barrier to entry for brands, where they can kind of, formulate kind of their own off of existing products that they like. And it feels like it's pretty diversified. Like there's so many different brands and there's so many different things to do with these brands. And it seems like there's like an endless amount of end consumers that are becoming aware of it and interested in actually using it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of a smart move.
Well, and we would love to get into brands at some point. And obviously being on the brand side before, we saw what can be powerful about a brand, but we've also felt like before we do that ourselves, we really want to understand everything there is to creating these things before we jump into it. Because you're right, building a brand, you can do it so many different ways, and there's so many different avenues and products. But there's with this segment, there's just people care so much more about their health than they did. COVID was huge for that. People, it was crazy to see what COVID did for the supplement industry.
Just woke it up.
It really did.
Being vertically integrated is like one of the biggest advantages that you're going to have over somebody else. Especially because right now, we talk to the buyers every day and how many POs are canceling from other countries, but it seems like so much of this industry is just manufactured in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
And so it's because of that, it's an easier, safer play, especially if if there's supply shortages, for example, somewhere, you being the one that's vertically integrated is always going to have the benefit of, well, we're picking our SKUs first, sorry.
Oh, totally.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's why you see brands do that in cases where it makes sense. You've got to definitely have the scale for that to make sense, I think. But it makes a ton of sense. Everybody at some point, like during COVID, to bring that up again, that was one where we did see certain stuff was just really hard to get. In the last year, that as Clear Protein has really taken off with a ton of different brands, that's been one that's been harder to get. It's still available, but there will always be those kind of things that happen with trends. But I do think when you're able to have control as much manufacturing as possible, it's always a win.
The Clear Protein's one that threw my mind a little bit. I first tried it at the headquarters of Clean Simple Eats, probably summer of 2024, and recently had some from Bucked Up that they just released. But it's amazing. It just looks like bubbly water, and you're like, how on earth is there protein in this? It doesn't even make any sense.
No, it tastes great.
Yeah, it does.
They've started carbonating it.
Yeah.
I think both of those companies you mentioned have it carbonated.
It makes no sense to me how they produce that.
Yeah, it's just extra layers of filtration to remove excess fat, creams, all that kind of stuff. And then it's just a super filtered version, and to the point where you can see through it. And then you don't have to have that milky taste, which I'm someone who drinks a lot of protein, and I love it personally because I just got sick of the typical chocolate and vanillas.
Yeah, you're like, I've had enough of this.
I'm good, yeah.
Enough strawberry quick for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's it's interesting. It seems like all the companies that do the best or the highest, the channels and the types of products, the categories of products that are the highest chances of success over the last 5 years have all been protein related.
Yeah.
It's totally. It's the batting average is so high on those type of products. And I don't know, maybe it's getting to a point where it's oversaturated now, but for sure, I wish, man, if I would have started a protein company 10 years ago, that'd have been the smart move to do, and a lot of people did it.
Well, and I think you're going to continue to see the trend on protein, and then another one that's funny that's kind of an old thing getting kickstarted again is fiber. And that's one, but back to Ozempic, the reason is with so many people using GLP-1s, the thing that causes is people aren't eating enough, so you're going to have muscle loss, so you need to get protein. But then the other thing is it slows down digestion, so you need fiber to keep yourself regular. So it's funny how things in the medical will then make its way over to here. The supplements people need now. Shoot, I need more fiber. I'm not getting enough.
That's right.
More
I'm
protein.
loaded up on this other part now. I have to have the complementary part, or I'm going to jack myself up.
Exactly.
So where are you from?
Lehigh. So pretty much born and raised here in the area.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What was your thing? Football? Wrestling?
No, actually, I was not really into sports.
You're a big
music.
Dude.
I know. I enjoy working out now,
yeah.
But no, music was the thing. I played all the sports growing up,
yeah.
and I enjoyed to a certain age. And then once I hit junior high, I was like, nah, I don't really like hitting. I don't really like, the traditional like football stuff.
You wouldn't think that looking at you. You'd think that you've been, you played collegiate football or something.
But no, like music was the thing that spoke to me, and I learned to play guitar at age 13.
Favorite band?
Oh, that's a hard question. It ranges. Right now, I'd have to say Sleep Token. I'm really enjoying their new album.
I don't even know what they are. I'll have to look into it.
You have to look it up.
So electric guitar.
Yep.
Yeah.
So played electric guitar ever since I was 13. I saw my friends, one of my friends' older brothers had a band, and that just like fascinated me.
Oh,
so I was like,
interesting.
I'm going to do this. This is a little different. I want to do that.
So I ran a Grok question, which is like my new favorite thing to do, is I just run random queries through Grok all day long. And I'm like, okay, what are the top products or inventions that are affiliated with Utah that Utah gets credit for? One of them is the electric guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So listen to this, okay. Frisbee came out of Richfield. I had no
idea.
Yeah. Electric guitar, hearing aid. The Zamboni, the thing that they do with ice skating.
How funny.
Zamboni. They have, obviously people know about the television with Philo Farnsworth.
Yes.
He was another I think he's Beaver or something like that. Let's see here. There were some headphones. I had no idea. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I knew the like top speaker company in the world is located in Provo, or at least they were, like Wilson Audio. That's another one that I remember, because I went to school at BYU, and a professor had like done some consulting work, and he was talking about Wilson Audio, and someone he knew there had like installed their top of the line speakers at like Bono's house or one of his houses.
Isn't that crazy?
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. You think about like companies like Control 4 that do it, and Skull Candies that do it. There's been a lot of good speaker companies coming out of Utah. But it's so interesting. I had no idea half of those. Obviously, I always just talk about like fry sauce or something stupid.
Yeah.
But you had no idea that now it's literally like the coolest things.
Oh, totally.
It's coming out.
Well, and it's so funny growing up here in Utah, or I should say specifically in Lehigh. Like, it is so vastly different from when I grew up here to now. I mean, it was not cool to be from Lehigh when I grew up.
No, it wasn't.
It was, kind of like the cowboy town. It's like, oh
they
yeah, you got the rodeo, right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember I lived there in 2002, 2003, and like we're right now, Luminous is obviously gracious enough to be hosting us at their podcast studio, and like I look at this mountain, like they don't have anything obstructing it, and we're looking at the same mountain that I used to look at where there was nothing here.
Yeah. And
I remember just like there was not one the only building that existed was that it was like that Micron building, and then there was it obviously I think Thanksgiving Point started kicking some things off about 25 years ago, but since then, since the rise of like Omniture selling to Adobe and then everybody else spun out of it and created this entire ecosystem on tech, it is insane. Like I was talking to my sister, and she put up her home for sale. The first showing, and this is just barely, she sold it. And her neighbor, same thing, first showing, just sold it like 2 days ago. I'm like, this place is just nuts. It's not what it was growing up.
Not at all.
It was probably mink farms and
totally.
Yeah,
that's exactly
a lot of flies.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. And now it's like a cool place. I was just telling my wife this last weekend, like. Growing up, I would have thought, over my dead body, will I be living in Lehigh and like have my kids go to school here?
Yeah.
Just because of how different it was back then.
It's a million times different.
It was like, for me, not being like a rural kid being here, it was kind of rough. So it's, I love all the growth that's happened, and it's so cool that, Utah's just, it's a booming place.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's a little unaffordable. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I just saw that this map yesterday about the average cost of a 3-bedroom home, and it's like the third highest in the country. It's like you have to make $176,000 to be able to afford a typical 3-bedroom home in Utah.
That's crazy.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
So it was like Hawaii, California, New York, Utah. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't understand it either. I don't understand why it's so expensive. And my hypothesis is because our freeway systems are so huge that everyone has to live really close together. Like in other states, everyone's got like 2-lane highways that go everywhere.
True.
And it divides everybody up into all these different areas of the state really easily. And the prices are not that big of a deal. But everybody has to like jam into the same little tiny area because the freeway systems are like 7 lanes long.
It's true. And it's not like there's not more space,
There's tons of space.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah, you're using like 10% of the state. 90% nobody's living on is like free to have. But again, you're on your own. But it's like,
Yes.
like I feel like I don't know. I'm always like thinking about my kids. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to afford it. Maybe I should go relocate someplace that's like a little cheaper.
Yeah,
that
it's
they
crazy.
can actually.
It's crazy.
But it has everything, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it does.
And it all just came the last 25 years, which is kind of nuts to think about. So on the manufacturing side, is it? It seems like you probably have very little margins that you're dealing with. Is that right?
Margins are very tight, very thin margins.
Yeah, I imagine you have really small margins, and it's all just a big volume play.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The thing that has allowed us, I obviously mentioned like being a lower provider on MOQs for people.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I guess I could dive into a bit on why supplement brands are easier to start for an average person looking to start a business, because specifically there on the low MOQs, we can do 1,000 units for people to test out an idea.
Wow.
However, what that allows us to do is because you're right, like if you go look at some of the big manufacturers here, and there's a bunch here in Utah that are just, from Salt Lake to down here, there's a lot. The bigger ones, it is the volume play and it's low margins, and that's how they win, because they hit such scale. Because we play at the low end, we can justify higher margins. So that's one thing that we've been able to do is by offering lower MOQs on those, because we still have the frustrating part of it is it costs us the same amount of money to set up a line to run a product for 10,000 units as it does 1,000 units.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to balance those somehow. So the way we've done that is the higher the numbers get, we have to be really sharp on our margins, making sure it makes sense for the brands. At the lower end, it's going to cost more but it then makes sense for the brand owner too, because they don't have to buy 10 to 20,000 units to test out an idea. So it's worth it. And then we'll grow with you. That's kind of the idea.
So out of 100 brands in your space, whether it's liquid IV stuff, whether it's pre-workout or creatines or whatever it is, right? Proteins. How many of the 100 will be around after 5 years? How many will still be around after 10 years?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's going to be, I don't know, it's got to be 20% or less, I would imagine.
That are still around after 5 or 10?
Yeah, because it's really hard to build it's a lower barrier of entry, but it's really hard to distinguish yourselves from your competitors. You've got to have a compelling vision and brand, and it's got to be about more than just the products for you to stick around.
All these D2C brands really thrived before the privacy iOS updates. So is this before you could just you'd have this incredibly awesome CAC. You'd have a 4 times return on ad spend or something like that. You throw in $100, you're gonna get $400 back. Mm-hmm. And now, because of those privacy changes, everyone's almost at a 1-to-1. And it's I don't know. And so it's weeded all these D2C brands out, which is kind of sad, because you obviously want more innovation, but it's kind of it's almost if you had a pond in your backyard and you had 100 fish, it's kind of nice to know that you have 5 fish that are big, because they kind of ate the other fish. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, it seems like it's a little bit more stability, but you feel bad for all the other ones that were thriving under D2C that just couldn't quite make the transition to retail. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you the name of the company, but I received a call today. They're in one of these really hotly contested categories, and they have been the big number one name, but they've been DTC, and they do about $50 million a year. And now they're realizing that their competitors are all starting to hit retail, and that's where the big play is. Mm. And they've been around for 15 years, and now they're but they're the last of the game on the retail side, and so they're actually we're all in. We have to do this now. And it's interesting though, because retail is it's the necessity, and it's almost like going from collegiate to the NFL, right? It's kind of you once you're done with college, once you're done with your DDC stuff, if you're going to survive and really make money, you have to go to retail, but it's also going to spit you up and spit you out, right? So it's like this necessary thing that you have to do. But obviously, people, it's all about implementing the right team, the right strategy if you're going to do it. But it's so interesting. I think just kind of watching a lot of these companies, it's been fun to see a bunch of innovation. I'm a little bit sad, especially during like times where there's like a little bit of economic turmoil, because you're going to see a lot less brands like innovate and come out.
Yeah.
Which just kind of sucks. Because it's fun to see innovations. It's fun to see like the American dream. But what people don't also see is the other side, like how many brands, how many like regular Joes just lose their shirts by starting a brand they didn't have enough money starting.
Totally.
Like I don't know. I'm sure you see that all the time where people bring you an idea and they're like, hey, I would love to create my new brand, but I need really good payment terms. I need a tiny minimum. I'm going to test this thing out.
Yep.
And you're probably like, man, I wish the best for you. But in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking there's no way this is going to work.
100%. And it is sad when that happens, because they might have a good concept, but you can see gaps in either their team or their funding or whatever. The plan just isn't totally there.
It's interesting. I think on my side where I see the biggest flaw a lot of the times is the retail strategy, because brands will they just see like a bunch of names, like they'll do like a Wikipedia search and they'll be like, okay, as a protein company, who should we be heading up? We'll go to CVS, we'll go to Bartell Drugs, we're going to go to Publix, we're going to go to HEB, we're going to do GNC. But they do it outside of the order of operations that it's supposed to work. And they don't leverage it properly. And then the other part to it is they sign bad deals. So like, again, another company, I'm not going to share the name of it, but basically they're doing really, really well at like a local specialty grocery store, Harmon's.
Okay.
So they're selling 17 units per store per week in a category somewhat like this. And so they decided, you know what, CVS is interested in us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sell to CVS, and they're going to open up 4,000 doors to us. And what happens, they don't realize now they realize that their SKU turn went from 17 units per store per week to a quarter of 1 unit per store per week.
Ooh.
And then they had to stock all these stores, and then they did a deal which was like a pay on scans, which is in CVS and Walgreens they do this, and it really bothers me, but they do like a pay on scan, which is basically saying we're not going to pay you for your first PO until after that's sold, until we place the second PO. So they're always a PO behind.
Oof. So
basically you have to stock them for 2 POs before you ever get any money. And then the only time you actually get caught up is when you exit the store 30 days later. So I'm just like, you got to know what you're negotiating, right? It's not just like a straight, net 30 or whatever. But they're probably jacked because all of a sudden they got the CVS logo that they can use. But the downside is now you're going to be capital constrained, and you're going to have to lay off a lot of people. Totally. And so it's like, sometimes I just feel like, I don't know. There's got to be like a roadmap to explain this stuff a little bit better to save all these brands from like really jacking each other up.
Totally.
And I
think
don't know.
That would be super valuable.
Yeah, seriously. It's kind of feel bad for them, but
I mean, and then just I'm thinking through the manufacturing piece of that as we've helped some brands prep for the CVS, Targets, all those things. And it's cost a lot of money to build all that inventory as well.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from when you get paid.
They'll stock it. And then a lot of them, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not going to speak too badly of big box retail, because big box can have its upside too, but you better be financially secure before you do the Walmarts and the Targets. Costco is a little different because of their whole roadshow program, and that's very sustainable in my opinion. Same with Sam's Club, doing their roadshow is very sustainable. But those people that are like, they'll go to a Target and they're like, we're so excited, we're in 300 Target doors. And then you look at their margin and you look at how much they're asked to advertise and all this like co-op marketing spend and these free fills, and you're like, I don't think you're making a dime. And in fact, if you wrote down the wrong terms in your vendor docs, they might just be returning all this merchandise to you.
Oof.
And so it's kind of like, you just sit there and you're just like, I don't know, maybe we should kind of coach people to do traditional grocery before you go out and hit mass.
That's so
a little
interesting.
Bit more.
You obviously, like, this is your expertise domain, but even just seeing it from my side, one of our earlier customers got into CVS. They were direct to consumer, and then it was like, hey, CVS is interested. And I think they threw out that number, 4,000 stores or whatever,
Yep.
and they just saw like dollar signs in their eyes.
And it probably put them under.
If they are
It
not,
could've.
if they are not, they're not. We don't work for them anymore. We don't do work for them anymore. But if it hasn't put them under, I have not seen them in a while.
Yeah. And that's kind of the sad story about it. Some retailers are really good at like wanting to grow with you and not put you out of business, like a Costco, where they're like, if we're more than 25% of your business, then you're too early for us because we don't want the bad PR. And then other retailers are more predatorial, where they're not necessarily making all their money. They have two ways to make money. Number one is off the end consumers that buy stuff, and the other way they make money is off of the vendors. They're like, we know how badly you want to be in here. Okay, well, this is going to cost you a little bit. And that kind of predatory stuff is, I mean, there needs to be some sort of retail reform, because you think about how many jobs, small business jobs, are put out every year by all these independent. Like I did the calculation. This is kind of crazy to think about. So there's 400,000 brands in the U.S. that go to retail trade shows, the big B2B retail trade shows. You know, the fancy food shows, or Expo West, or SHOT Show, or CES. But of that, there's 30 times more of that number, 30 times that number that actually are just D2C brands that only sell to like Amazon or Etsy. And I mean, think about how big of a population, how many total companies that have to have a thriving ecosystem in order for like the total U.S. employment not just to absolutely just get demolished.
Oh yeah.
And so these type of practices, I think, I'm kind of a big advocate of like a little bit more regulation on that.
Makes sense.
Of like, no, like for example, if the U.S. came out and just said, look, something like, look, we know you're a great brand, we know that you want these national chains early on, but there's a law saying that you can't go in there unless it's only 30% of your business.
Oh,
it's kind of like these like predatory like loan companies that are like, yeah, you can go get a loan, but it's going to be 2,000% interest over the next week, and you don't realize that it's basically going to make it so you're never going to get out of it.
Right.
Like, I wish that the government would step in and be like, look, I know the retailers make money on the brand side too. We want to stop the practice where they're not making money on the brand side. They're only making it if both products do well, and they're making it on the end consumer side. Because it's a little too much.
That would make a lot more sense, because it's better for. I mean, I don't know. I don't think the predatory practices play out well in the long run for anyone either.
Well, you get bad publicity.
Yeah.
I mean, like Walmart. I mean, they put out a lot of companies like Rubbermaids, a bunch of others that like big old companies because they're just so powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't think the buyer's going into it thinking I want to be a bad buyer. A lot of the buyers they're actually trying to get winners because it's kind of like a big gold star on their chest that they picked this brand early enough to like be the first one to innovate with it. But the problem is even so they're incentivized to get that brand, but the flip side is, if it doesn't work out for that brand, then that brand isn't just like, it's like a little plaything. It's out of business. Like, it's a big problem.
Oh yeah. So
I don't know. It's very interesting. There's the whole idea of like manufacturing on your own is pretty insane. It's like you have to have a pretty healthy confidence in order to even start what you just did, because it's a big ask, right?
It was, and honestly, I think had I known everything I know now, I don't know if I would do it over again.
Yeah.
Because it has been so hard and such a learning experience.
Yeah.
And it's been lessons like hard learned that obviously I'll be able to carry through the rest of my life, and that there's value in that, and being like, I can do hard things. I can overcome these things that seem impossible, and then somehow we figure out a way to get through it.
I could totally relate, like on the tech side. So like we launched Volcanic Retail for like the purpose of putting brands and buyers directly together and everything else. I had no idea how difficult it would be to launch a tech SaaS platform. No clue. Like, I thought, yeah, you know what? We throw in $1 million to this thing. We all hit it hard for 3 months, and we're selling it, and it's working great in live. And the reality is like, I would tell anybody that I know, unless you got 10 million in the bank, don't start a tech company. Because there's so many issues with it. One thing that we learned on it is just all these different code bases that these different dev firms can work off of, and they don't speak to each other. So what we started off is kind of crazy. We started off with this code base that not many people were using anymore.
Okay.
And then we take it to another third-party company that would do our next dev, and they would do it a little bit different. And ours was React code base, but the first guy wrote in React code base that had a lot of specific details that only their people knew. And then they decided not to support it, which is crazy to think that they could even do that. Yeah. But by the time we got to our third company, the code base looked like a Frankenstein, because everybody's writing a little bit different codes. It's being built with these different arms. So what I didn't know is that almost all SaaS companies go through a whole iteration where they actually have to redo their entire code base, because by the time they're done with it, it looks like such a Frankenstein. It doesn't scale. So you're basically going into it knowing you have to write 2 code bases just to even get going, which I had no idea about, right? So you go grab a bunch of investors and you're like, hey, this is going to be incredible. We're going to get going. And you don't realize that every single time that you're in a group meeting and you come up with some new innovation and some new really cool feature to your website, it's going to make your website or your platform even more of a Frankenstein. And then pretty soon there's going to be bugs and more bugs. And yeah, it's when is the innovation just actually almost like a big negative, right?
That's so interesting.
It's I could have just started at the beginning, but that's the difficult part about tech. But I could see that also on manufacturing. Oh yeah, you're sitting there and you're yeah, I mean, I know it's complicated. I got to get a couple machines. I got to go get some loans against them. But I think I can get some people to steal business from. I think it's going to be okay. And then you realize, holy cow, this is not only capital intensive, but now all of a sudden you have to have an incredible sales team that can bring these leads in. I mean, you have to make sure that these brands are paying you, if not in advance, really quickly. Yep. Because if you get screwed by one or two of these brands, which, by the way, brands they're known to do. Yep. Then all of a sudden that's all of your, I mean, it can flip you to a positive year to a negative year.
100%, and we've gone through that. I mean, I can't remember now if it was our second or third year. It would have been our second full year, where we had that happen. We landed what was a big customer for us at that time. Yep. And obviously, like you said, you got to have a good sales team to bring that in, but you got to also perform to it. And then they have to pay you. So there's a lot.
And that last one is not a guarantee.
No, it's not. And that's what happened is we were delivering. Things thought were going well. As we had some people on the inside that were like, "Hey, company is still growing, strong growth." We're like, "Great, this is kind of," because in manufacturing it really helps if you have some kind of cornerstone clients to build on that are they're very consistent. Yeah. And that's what the manufacturing game is efficiency, consistency, and you just. It's not overly sexy or any of those things, but that's what wins at the end of the day. And all of a sudden, we somebody who we were in very close contact with, we had product ready to deliver to their warehouse for them. They went dark on us. Yeah. We're like, well, that's weird. And after about a week of me trying to figure out what is going on here, they shut down the company overnight.
Unbelievable.
And you figure it out. And for us at that time, it almost killed us. It legitimately almost killed us.
Oh, yeah.
We were able to dig out of it after a long period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost out on a couple $100,000 of what we were owed, where we had bought everything for it and put in all the labor for it. And for us, that's a ton, at that time.
Which brings us to law, which I want to talk about here in a minute. But it's so interesting, because I was the president of a Mark Cuban company, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. And I caught on to the CEO's practices, which were super shady. The dude would go manufacture with somebody, and then when he needed more cash, he wouldn't pay their invoices, and they just go move to another manufacturer. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And depending on the size of the manufacturer, some of them are like, oh, I'm not going to chase this guy's not going to, I'm never going to get money back anyway. But that was my first time to seeing that type of deception. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to tell me specifics you don't know, but out of all the companies you manufactured for, what percentage do A, have trouble like getting paid from, and B, you just never get paid from?
We've been fortunate that the second part of the question, which is how many do we never get paid from, it's been very few instances, less than I can count on two hands.
Oh, good.
So as far as that goes, we've been fortunate that way. And
how do you protect yourself from that? Is that like, is it part of the agreement? Or do you take collateral against it?
Even then, I mean, for me, even when those things have been in place, what has helped the most is just relationships at the end of the day. Like if we have a solid relationship where there's mutual respect, then typically those are the situations where we don't get screwed over. Yeah. But it has happened, and sometimes it's happened and been super painful and almost put us out of business. Getting paid, it can be a big fight. Fortunately, I would say the longer we've been in business, the more we've been able to recognize at the outset of questions being asked at the beginning. We're like, oh, interesting. You're saying that? Okay, I'm gonna tuck that away. Yeah, exactly. We've kind of, the more you do it, the more you can point out those red flags of, okay, if they're asking this, and this may not be a good fit. But it's enticing to still chase those opportunities because they can be big companies with a lot of volume. And
it's so interesting, like what I've noticed. So we've, on the Brand Rising annual side, so we've helped about 600 brands expand into retail. And every single time, the client that we shouldn't have signed because they were too small, always are the most demanding. It's almost like they're looking at you as like the saving grace, and like you better perform it. And then all the big companies and the ones that understand retail been a while are a lot more chill and relaxed. So after a while, we had to just be like, we're not doing these small agreements because you're gonna be hard to get paid. Number one, it's a harder product to sell because it's number two. And number three, you're probably going to be asking 10 times more than anybody else can be asking for. It's like, dude, I'm sorry, man, I don't get paid that much. Yep. Like, what are we doing here?
It's crazy how that's the exact same in our industry.
The smaller ones are the ones.
And not always, again, like it's not necessarily the size at the outset, but you can get an idea because I'm usually on a lot of the sales calls, if not almost all of them. Yeah. And I can see those things like, okay, is there a team in place? Some of those kind of things. And then, but in the earlier days, especially where I didn't have that seasoning that is developed over time, we'd get those in and it's like, wait, why? We're losing money on these accounts that we're helping service because they have the most questions, they're the most demanding, and it's not going to go anywhere. And we kind of know it's not. Yeah. And shoot, we put ourselves in this position. So unfortunately, it's the same.
I think that's unfortunately probably why, though, how some companies have to take off. Like the earlier brands that we used to work were like no-name brands, and they were just, no offense, they just weren't good products, right? Mm-hmm. Good brands. But it took 10 years of like really grinding our teeth to actually get that next layer of brands that are like, wow, that's legit. Yeah. And then after a while, you get like the really top tier brands, but it takes a long time to like weed your way through that.
Totally.
Like, there's no way like coming out 20 years ago, I could have been like, actually, I'm just going to start off with these brands that I have now. They'd be like, what are you kidding me? There's no way. No. And so that's kind of like with you. Like, you had to start off with some of these guys that were like, we just need your business. Yeah. You know?
And it's funny now because we'll talk, my brother is a business partner, and so we'll talk a lot of the times like of opportunities we're getting now. Yeah. And it's funny because I'll just say like, this opportunity wasn't even an option for us until right now.
That's right.
We've had to show a track record of working with the really difficult people that nobody wants to work with to even get to this opportunity of, oh, these are some really solid people, you know.
Is staffing hard in your industry, manufacturing industry? Like, I'm sure your machines are going all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, do you have to worry about the people that don't show up at 5 a.m. or something? I mean, it's a different, like, you guys are going all the time. Mine are just kind of office job people, right? So I'm like, I'm not worrying at night if someone's not working.
Sure. For us, it was really difficult in the first few years. Yeah. It took, again, kind of a time of also recognizing who are the right and not right people to have in the building. Yeah. And that took a lot of learning experiences. And those were hard learned when I was in there on the weekends filling stuff to meet a deadline because this person didn't show up. Yeah. When you have to do those kind of things too often, you learn pretty quick of who to look out for. We're fortunate now that we have a really solid team, and we have not had an issue with finding really good people who want to work with us. And because our shift starts at 6 a.m., so we've got people there, and we're fortunate now that staffing is not an issue for us. But in the early days, oh, absolutely.
That's insane.
It was really hard to get solid people who would show up on time and do the work, and I get it, because it's a very repetitive, manufacturing is mentally, it's not stimulating.
That's right.
It's the same thing over and over again. So I have ADHD. That's hard. It's hard for me to want to do that.
That's why you want to start your own brand.
Yeah.
Get that creative side
exactly.
out of you. So, okay, so this is probably the most important question. How, from a scale of 0 to 10, how amazing is Leonard Skinnard on the guitar? Do you listen to those, like some of those riffs, like Freebird, and you're just like, holy cow, that it's going on for like 8 minutes. You don't even care.
They're incredible,
dude. That's
10 out of 10 with guitar playing for sure. Yeah.
Okay, who are the top 5 guitar players of all time?
Oh, so I am not, honestly, like, before the 90s, I'm not going to be like the most knowledgeable, because I'm the oldest of 5 kids, raised by a single mom. So like I didn't have an older person really like showing me
what's going on,
like explaining classic rock and all that stuff. I can appreciate it, but like it's not my go-to.
It kind of started for you in the 90s.
Because like I'm a 90s kid. So like the first one, my cousin showed me Van Halen. So Eddie Van Halen would be one up there. Like when I heard Eruption, I was like, whoa.
I think everybody would say the same thing.
Then it would be like Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. So he was one where I started getting more into like metal and those kind of things, and that's where my music took me. Oh my gosh.
How about best music to lift to?
For me, it's like metal and hardcore. The angry stuff. I'm not listening.
Like Korn or something?
I wouldn't
Rage
say
Against
Korn.
the Machine.
Like stuff in
Bush.
that genre, like Under Oath, August Burns Red.
I think you're a lot cooler than me, because I don't know any of these like small bands that like are probably not big, but I'm just old and cranky. So I don't know these guys.
I also just like grew up going to a ton of shows here in the area. So like I just love live music. I still go to a ton of concerts, and it's super fun to go to.
Best concert you've ever been to?
Good question. I would say one, this is kind of a cheating answer because it was a festival, but a few years ago in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, they have a festival called Furnace Fest. And they brought it back after doing it like 20 years ago. I was too young to go at the time. They brought it back and brought back a bunch of the old bands from then. But I mean, it was like Knocked Loose, Turnstile, Kublai Khan, all these bands that are like, I realize for you that's probably
fun.
Doesn't mean anything, but
no, dude, me, all I know right now is me and Brandon Doyle, he'll say the same thing. We like, we're John Mayer guys. We're like,
he's great.
Yeah, he is insane.
He's incredible.
I think all the smartest people in the world know that John Mayer is remarkable.
Oh yeah, he just but he doesn't necessarily have to show it off, He
doesn't.
It's just but then you see him live and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he really, really is. Well, thanks for coming in and chatting with us. It's absolutely fascinating to like get on the manufacturing side for a little bit. I mean, it's a connected world, obviously, to the retail and the brand side, but it's its own world.
It is. It's and it's usually in the background of you don't necessarily think about that when you're thinking about getting into all these big places, but we're the ones helping arrange it getting there. So.
Oh, you're awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hello? Another trade show just got COVID canceled, and now this year's booth is a bust. There's a better way to get your product into retail. Volcanic Retail is a business-to-business desktop and mobile platform that connects buyers and sellers. Think of it as a highly sophisticated dating app for your business. It's a 24/7 trade show marketplace and so much more. Send direct messages to buyers, view their buying calendars, and fulfill orders all through our platform. Create your own unique company page, tell your company story, and showcase your trending products. Communicate directly with buyers through volcanic messaging. Send connection requests to buyers to form lasting professional relationships and stay up to date on retailers' buying seasons. VolcanicRetail.com is an easy and convenient management tool. You can get your product in front of the right buyer who is looking for exactly what you have based on MSRP, margin, ingredients, fabrics, certifications, style, color, channel, trend, country of origin, MAP, sale through. You get the gist. This year, thousands of companies spent their marketing budget on trade shows that got canceled at the last minute. Volcanic came up with an inexpensive, long-term solution that can't be canceled. Planes have been grounded and in-person meetings and trade shows may become a thing of the past. With Volcanic, you have 24/7 access to the best marketing tool in retail. On Volcanic's marketplace, both you and the buyers can view your products from the comfort of a desk, at your home or office. Volcanic streamlines the retail process by showing awesome products to buyers that they're actually interested in. The rest of the buying process is simple and efficient on Volcanic. No more weeks of talking back and forth just for a deal to fall through at the last minute. It's time to step up your retail game. Click the link to get your free account today.